Continuing on our Subaru XV Crosstrek videos, we're going to show you how to do an oil change. But this time we're not just doing a traditional oil change, we're going to test the difference between seeing if your traditional oil changes or an evacuation style oil change is better. The traditional engine oil change typically takes place underneath the engine. You jack the vehicle up, drain the oil, and then remove and replace the filter. This Subaru is giving us a rare opportunity. We're going to try to evacuate it using the dipstick tube as our entrance into the oil drain plug, into the oil drain pan, as well as removing the filter from the top. So what we're going to do here is we're going to evacuate the engine oil from this dipstick tube. So you'll remove your dipstick tube and set it aside because you'll need it in a minute. Then you'll grab the end of your evacuation hose and you're just going to take a quick measurement. And then go just a little bit longer, probably about 3 inches longer, and then stick it back into the dipstick. Once you have it seated, you'll start priming your evacuation tool and removing the engine oil from the crankcase. So this is our evacuation tool. They come in a couple of different varieties, but this is your most generic version. You can get this at a Tractor Supply or any sort of parts store of that matter. How this unit works is it has a hand pump as if you were going to pump up a bicycle, but instead of creating pressure, it creates vacuum. So my action of pulling this lever backwards creates a suction barrier, which then is released into the atmosphere so that there is a lower pressure inside the liquid bag. And that's the name of this unit. So what happens is the engine oil inside the crankcase is then pulled into the lower pressure because you have the higher pressure and the lower pressure. So that's the essentials of how this unit works. You can get them also at Harbor Freight, Snap-on, or pretty much any online retailer. They have a couple that are small like this, and they have some that are even larger that go all the way up to 5 and 10 gallons. So our tool here has just evacuated just a little over 4 quarts of engine oil. Now we know the capacity of this engine is 5.1 quarts, so we're hoping that there's another quart in there, or else this engine's consuming a bunch of engine oil. So we have our traditional drain pan here, and we're going to go ahead and remove the drain plug and let it drain into this pan. One thing to note, when you're ever jacking up a vehicle, you want to make sure you have the handbrake on, a wheel chock on the opposite side that you're jacking if you're only doing one side, as well as a jack stand to support the vehicle in case the jack fails. For all you guys doing this at home, it's a 17mm that you use to remove the oil drain pan plug. The drain plug is located on the driver's side. Just follow the front of the tire all the way until you see this service hole. There should be a little area where you can see the drain pan plug, and remember it's a 17mm. So remember, lefty-loosey, righty-tighty, or counterclockwise to have it come off. We'll put our socket on there and break it loose. Maybe. Oh my gosh, I gotta go to the gym. Okay, don't take this back to the dealership, Tom, because they over-torqued this with the hand of Thor. So now we're going to go ahead and take the drain pan plug out and see how much oil we get. Huh, no oil came out. I'm really shocked that we didn't have any engine oil come out when we removed the drain pan plug. So I'm going to go ahead and lower the vehicle so that it's flat and then jack it up on the passenger side to give every opportunity for more engine oil to come out. So one thing to take note of when you're installing your oil drain pan plug, which we're just going to call the drain plug for now, is that you want to have a crush washer. This crush washer will stop this drain pan plug from backing out on its own, kind of like a lock nut washer. And another thing to notice is when you install this, you only have to torque it to about 25 foot-pounds. And that equates to putting it nice and snug so you can't turn it by hand anymore, and then going another quarter turn, and that'll be just about 25 foot-pounds. The next step is to change your engine oil filter, and you can use a couple of tools, but the most handy one is a set of pliers designed for removing an engine oil filter. All you do is grab on and turn it counterclockwise. Once it's broken loose, you'll be able to just grab it with your hand and turn it all the way out. So to install the new filter, you'll just take a little bit of oil on your finger and run it around this rim. And what that does is it helps when you twist it not to damage this oil seal, as well as help this oil seal inflate. engine oil on that rubber surface will create a expansion effect and further seal the oil filter. So I'm just putting that on pretty tight. I don't have to put it on super tight because it's just engine oil. It's not going into space. Another thing that I do at the end of every engine oil change is I write my name, my company name, and especially the date. That way I know the last time it was changed and who did it, because I care about the quality of my work. The next step is to fill your engine back up with engine oil. So you'll just remove the cap and insert your funnel, which will ensure that you don't spill any engine oil. The next step is to reinstall your engine oil fill cap, snug that down, and then grab your dipstick to check your engine oil level. So you'll pull it out, wipe it off, stick it back in, and pull it out to give it a quick read. So just looking at this, we're just above the engine fill line, which is right here, but that's okay because we're on a slight incline and we haven't started it up, so the engine oil hasn't circulated and gone back to the filter. So after you've started the vehicle, you want to check the engine oil again, make sure you're on a flat surface so that you get an accurate reading. You'll then want to double check to make sure that your engine oil filter isn't leaking any sort of oil, and then take a look underneath the car to make sure that your drain pan plug is on there correctly and not dripping oil as well. And assuming that you still have 10 fingers and 10 toes, you've just completed your engine oil change on your Subaru XV Crosstrek. Happy motoring!